Today on the Whiskey Tornado, we review Remus Repeal Reserve IV. What's up, Bourbon crew? Welcome back to the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance. I am excited to review Remus Repeal Reserve number 4 with you guys today. Oh, I don't want to spoil anything, but this is a good bottle. Remus Repeal Reserve, this is an MGP product, so it's produced in Indiana. As most of you know, MGP sources so much of their bourbon to so many brands, and this Remus brand is their own. They've decided to bottle their own juice and sell it, so I'm imagining, especially with the Remus Repeal Reserve, they're using some of their best barrels, especially if this one's any indication. So what we've got, I love how transparent they are. They put the blend on the front of the bottle for 2020 blend, or this batch 4. You've got 77% of this bottle is a 2008 bourbon that is 21% rye mash bill, and the other 23% is another 2008 bourbon but a 36% rye mash bill. So here on the Whiskey Tornado, we have 6 categories. We rank, we do the nosing first, then the tasting, we rate the finish, we rate the appearance, the availability, and the value. And we rate everything 0 to 1, 0.5 being an average score. We add all those up. If the score comes to a 3 or more, it's bar worthy. 4 or more, it's so good that I would buy a couple bottles or even bunker some for later. So with that being said, let's get into the nosing. Ooh-wee. Oh man, this is like, oh, it's so good. It is caramel on the nose. It is sweet oak. It's sugar. It's almost, what immediately comes to mind is iced vanilla sugar cookies. Oh man, and not the fluffy, crappy kind of sugar cookies, like dense sugar cookies. Oh, it is so good. The nose is so sweet. When you smell this, you instantly know that you've got a quality bourbon in your hand and that it's gonna be good. Oh man, that nose is so delicious. I would rate this nose a 0.9. It's almost perfection. The only thing I'm not getting on this nose is like baking spices. But other than that, man, it is so good. You just know. I love when a nose sets you up that you're about to drink something special. Okay, so 0.9 on the nose. All right, guys, next we've got the palate. Let's do our tasting here. Cheers. Come on. Oh my gosh. Okay. I gotta collect myself. I'm gonna have another sip of this. Whew. Actually, I gotta wait. This finish is still going. We're gonna get into the finish, but good Lord. Oh man. Oh man. It's like, boom, huge hit of caramel. And then right after the caramel, it instantly transitions into this beautiful berry note. It's like, man, I don't know if that's blackberries or raspberries. It's not cherry. It's not strawberry. It's like a berry note, a really good sugary caramel berry note. Man, it's delicious. Let me go in for another sip here. What a perfectly balanced whiskey. It has just enough rye in there that you're getting some citrus notes, but it's not overwhelming. It's not overpowering. This is one of the most drinkable whiskeys I've ever had. One of the most drinkable bourbons. Wow. It's 50%. It is sweet without being too sweet. It's got a little bit of rice spice without being overly spicy. Man, it is so good. The palate is so delicious. I gotta have another sip of this. The caramel, the oak, and the berries are so well balanced, it almost just makes one note. It's not transitioning, it's just like one beautiful round note, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, the more you drink it, the better it is. Again, I'm not getting a lot of baking spices on it, but I am getting some beautiful citrus notes, some caramel, some berries, some sugar, some sweet oak. Oh man, this is special. I'm gonna rate it a 0.9. I think it's as good as anything I've tasted this year for bourbon. Oh man, it's really good. I am gonna enjoy doing blinds with this because I think it's gonna beat a lot of things out there. Okay, let's go to the finish here. Let me take another sip. That palate is something special. There's a slight hug. It's not too bad. You know, there's not a lot of like peppery spice on this. It's just really rounded. Oh, there goes the hug. The finish is pretty long. The only thing that I'm not particularly enjoying on the finish is it is tannic. It is drying, and that's probably that 12-year-old bourbon. It's a little more drying. It like really dries out your mid palate. And so, you know, if I was gonna drink this, I would probably save this as one of my last drinks of the night due to the finish. I think it's gonna dry out your palate so much that other bourbons may not be as enjoyable as they could be. That's the only knock I have on this bourbon. But to me, sometimes that tannic note or that drying is what shows age in a bourbon, and I like that. I like to know that, hey, this is an older bourbon, but it might just be a hair too tannic. So I'm gonna knock the finish on it. It's not as enjoyable as a lot of things I've had. So I'm gonna go a 0.4, a little less than average, just because of the tannic notes there. Some people might really love this. If tannic notes or oak really turn you off, this might be a bourbon that you're not gonna agree with me on as far as how high I'm gonna rate it, because that oak note is just gonna turn you off so much. To me, though, the palate and the nose are so beautiful. And the finish is not off-putting. It's just a little drying. Okay, moving on to appearance. You know, I personally love the shape of the bottle. I love the label up close. You know, you don't think much about it, but up on the shelf, it looks really fancy. You know, this is a fancy bourbon. It's got a good cork on it, good hefty cork. You know, George Remus etched in the bottom of the bottle. George Remus on the cork. It's a gorgeous offering. I always say bourbon is a piece of art, and the container that it's in should represent that. And I think this does a really good job of that. You know you're drinking a fancy whiskey. It looks fancy. You know it's going to be high quality. So I'm going to give it a 0.7 on appearance. Okay, let's move on to value now. Again, you are getting a 12-year-old MGP product. A lot of 12-year-old MGP bourbons that are sourced to other distilleries can go for 2, 3. Shoot, the Blonde Brothers I have right up on top of there is a 12-year that retails for $100, but you can't find it for probably less than $400. So if you're talking well-aged MGP juice, you're usually talking high dollars. This MSRP is $80, and I was able to find it for $80. It's, you know, you're getting a blend of 2 12-year-old MGP juices, and it is fantastic. I think the value is through the roof for this thing, so I'm giving the value a 0.8. All right, availability. Here is the good news. People aren't chasing this, not yet, and I don't know if they will because it's not as sexy as your, Buffalo Trace products like E.H. Taylor and Stag Jr. and all of those things. But I think this is people might crucify me for this, but it's so drinkable, it's so delicious, and I think you can find these on the shelves when they release every fall. And I've seen them throughout the year. I've seen, batch 3 throughout the year. I probably could have got one anytime here in Illinois. So the availability is really good. I think it's a 0.8 on availability. Okay, so what's that bring Remus Repeal Reserve batch 4 to? It's an overall score of 4.4. So it is definitely bunker worthy. I would definitely grab some extra bottles of these because you're not going to be able to find them for very long. It's a bottle that a lot of people aren't chasing, so you should be able to find them on the shelves, and it's as good as most bourbons out there. Better than most things that the store owners are hiding in the back. Do not pass this gem up. It is delicious, and it is in my running for bourbon of the year for 2020. It's that good. I really believe it's that good. Just delicious stuff. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time, cheers.